Well, say go. This is Big House, Guanalacqua, and yes, I'm doing the documentary. Mine is the voice you hear every time on those chapters. And I'd promised friends and family, after doing quite a bit of this documentary, that about every mile marker, like 100, 150, 200, whatever, I'd expose a little bit more of myself. Well, it's at 450 now, heading for 1,000 chapters, and I'm obligated to do a little bit more exposing of oneself. Love the reservation that I came from, St. Regis Indian Reservation. Grew up with both parents were heavy drinkers, so that's kind of what I thought I was supposed to be when I grew up. So I was pretty much drinking beer before my teens, straight out alcohol and some narcotics all throughout my teens. Of course, the old George Carlin saying is, if you remember the 60s, you probably weren't there. Lived up near on the Canadian border, so luckily enough, narcotics were out there, but they were not very available and not very affordable. Thank heavens. I guess I stuck with alcohol all those years. Dried out when I was about 30, mid-30s. Broke a lot of hearts, wrecked a lot of cars, disappointed a lot of people. I was a happy drunk, but still, I was a drunk. Decided to dry out. But the part of this story that I want to share with you is that all through my younger years, especially my teen years, I really struggled with suicide and addiction. And being addicted, suicide seemed to be the best way out and the only answer sometimes. And I can remember back when I had my first car, and I loved that car. Built it out of 7 different cars, so it was 5 or 6 different colors. Set up for a quarter mile. It was a 55 Chevy. And I got a ticket one time for an inadequate emergency brake. And somehow, in my mind, I had let it manifest until I thought there was no other way out. Either pay the ticket or commit suicide. And I came very close to, I know how stupid it sounds, to committing suicide over a damn emergency brake ticket, a $5 ticket. And I mean very close. What kept me from pulling the trigger the several times that I went to do suicide was the fact that my mentor told me, there's a spark inside of you. You have to find that spark and use it. And that's what kept me. It wasn't that I was afraid or a coward to do it. I'd have done it. And I guess I was kind of a wild kid, at least to everyone else's standards. But it wasn't until a family reunion up on the reservation, and one of my very nearest and dearest cousins that I thought a lot of, and I'd always imagined she's got life right by the short ones and could do nothing wrong, had it made. I got talking to her, and she said, just in passing, she says, well, I've sobered up and I've conquered my suicidal demon. And I went, your what? She said, the demon that lives in all us Indians. We're inherently very addictive. We're easily addicted to either drugs or alcohol or work or women or whatever. Whatever it is, you're going to be easily addicted to it, easily drawn. And you're also subject to being suicidal. And I said, what? I was in my mid-20s, and I said, why didn't somebody tell me this 15 years ago? I have struggled immensely against committing suicide, and sometimes that's all I thought about all the time. And I was a happy kid. I mean, as far as a hellraiser, and kids followed me and did everything, weird stuff that I'd come up with. But I always struggled with it internally, and I thought, it's just me. I didn't find out till mid-20s that it's inherent. It was going to happen, and I didn't know it. So, it took an Indian healing ceremony And if you're looking at the documentary, look under Healing Your Bladder and Loving the Man in the Still Water. And that's what it took to free me of this internal demon, or demons, in loving oneself and starting from inside out. Because now, goodness, I mean, as I think about it, you know, when you have all this perfection and beauty to deal with, well, there's no reason to end it all. I mean, sure, it's a tough life for somebody this gorgeous, but work with me. It can be happening to you, and fighting that demon off or conquering it, the first thing you have to do is know it's there, and then know what its weaknesses are and what your strengths are. So that's another look at me. I warned you. So thank you very much for the documentary. We're at about 460 chapters, heading for 1,000. And is anything that says Indian on it and it's documentable, I'm going to record it if I can. So wish me luck. Thank you. Ona.